All right, this offensive line is off and humming so far this year. It seems like the only constant so far. Like, there's been a lot of kind of some inconsistencies everywhere else, but the offensive line feels like it's been the same. Is that what you've seen throughout the season?
I don't want to speak to anything else. What I'll speak to is in terms of the offensive line. What I'll say is the guys are working really hard. They're preparing very hard every week. We know that that's what it takes to prepare, to perform at the highest level. You have to put the work in Monday through Saturday. That's exactly what we believe in here. And it's what the guys have done. So, in my opinion, your success and consistency is not, it's not something that happens by accident. That's a result of hard work and guys playing together and making sure that every day, every rep, we're doing the best that we can to approach it with intent, be detailed, and get the most out of it. And I'm really pleased with how the guys are working. They're doing a great job.
Will Fry's one of those guys. He's kind of the under-the-radar guy of the starting line, but he's grading out really well, and he really passes the eye test. How have you seen him grow from last year to this year?
I think Will's always, I've believed that Will was a very good player, going back to when I got here last year, just seeing, some of the things that he did the season before and how he was improving. And the one thing about Will is he's a tireless worker. He's going to do every single thing he can to maximize everything he's got. He leaves no stone unturned. He sets, he really does a good job helping set the tone physically for us up front. The way he finishes blocks, how physical he plays, down in and down out, it really helps, like I said, set the tone for our whole group. And it's something that, it can fly under the radar because it doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but it's something that makes a huge difference out there during the course of the game.
And Tanor, Bortolini, and Matt Goncalves, a couple rookies. Like, from the outside, it's probably hard for us to see, how they're developing and coming along. But, behind the scenes in the meeting room and in practice, how are you seeing those guys come along?
I'm really pleased with both of them. I'm a big believer in both players. I'm really, really happy that we got them both. Mm-hmm. They were two of my absolute favorite players in this draft class, and just feel very fortunate that we were able to get both of them because I wasn't sure that would be kind of a possibility. Mm-hmm. I thought it would be hard to do. But they've both done a great job. They're working really hard. They're both very talented players, very smart. They've settled in with the group really, really well. And the thing that I like the most is they don't feel like rookies in terms of the mentality and their knowledge of the game. They're picking things up very quickly. The techniques, the scheme stuff. Obviously, Tanor being a center, that's a big deal for him, having to see the full picture and communicate. And I'm really happy with how that's going and where he's at. I think both guys are doing really, really good job for us, and I expect them to be a big part of this group now and into the future.
And you don't want to call it a red shirt year, but he's been inactive. He's kind of learning on the go and everything. The protection meetings, we've always heard from Ryan in the past, like how productive those are and everything. Has he been able to participate a lot in those, especially from the center position?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he knows it all very, very well. He's done a great job with that. Like I said, I'm very, very pleased with where he's at in terms of seeing everything. I'm pleased with how he's coming along, and if and when he's called upon, I know he's going to be ready, and I have very, very, very high level of confidence in that.
And Quenton Nelson is someone who I know you guys don't all care about the outside noise, but maybe a couple years ago when the line was struggling a little bit, he'd been banged up, playing through a lot of stuff, mm-hmm. and people maybe thought he wasn't the same guy, but now he's kind of come back and looks exactly like he did in his younger years. How much can you appreciate as his coach, how he's come along and being that dominant guy on the interior of the line?
I would say the first thing I would say, and I mean, you said it, but I'll say it, I think perceptions on the outside versus reality are very, very different, especially where the offensive line is concerned. And that's because I don't think that there's a lot that goes on up front that people that aren't really involved in it they don't really understand the full scope of it.
Sure.
And there's a lot of intricacies. There's a lot of different things that go into it that I think kind of fly under the radar. I'll say this: Quenton's been a great player for a long time. I thought that kind of the narrative that was out there a couple of years ago that he wasn't the same player, I thought was nonsense, quite frankly, because when you turn the tape on, there's not a whole lot of guards that do. And I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about ever that do what he does. But certainly since I've been here, he has been he's played really, really well. He's played at a really high level. He's been an incredible leader for the group. And it makes me happy to see him having the success he's having and the enjoyment and the fun that he's having out there playing the game, because I know how hard he works behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. This guy is a tireless worker. He is the opposite of the guy that goes, well, I'm just that good, I'm just that talented, I'm already good enough. That's not him. He is a tireless worker. He wants to know every single thing he can do to get better. He wants to know every single way that he can improve his game. He wants to know every little detail that can help give him an advantage out there on a Sunday. And he just works round the clock, year round, to be the best he can be to maximize these Sundays that we get in the fall. And I just think he's a tremendous player. I think he's I couldn't say enough positive things about him. I mean, obviously he's a great player. My opinion, he's one of the very best to ever play this position, and we're very fortunate to have him here. I know that.
The smarts and awareness you're talking about, like, that does seem like something that's always set him apart. He had one of the, I guess, like, funnier video clips that's happened so far with that block against Green Bay. But was that not, like, brilliant? Like, just the awareness to not draw the flag.
It's 100% what it is.
Yeah.
And he knows exactly what the rules are, and he knows that going back toward his own goal line, he can't make forcible contact, mm-hmm. and he's got to block that thing with hands, or he's got to shield them, and he did an excellent job there. It just highlights what an aware player he is. And that's some of what I'm talking about that goes on behind the scenes that not everybody can appreciate. Mm-hmm. His intelligence at the line of scrimmage, the things he sees, his communication, the way he helps the group function 5 as one is just second to none. I mean, he's just such an instinctive, smart player, and it comes from all the time that he puts in. I walk in the O-line room the other day, I mean, it was later at night after, well after meetings, he's in there and he's watching stuff on his own and he's preparing, and it's part of his process that he has, and he just does a really great job with it.